Okay, we're going to cover an introduction to graphics in TempleOS. We're going to create a new file, so we say ed intro. We're going to write to the command line. We're going to write a sprite to the command line. Control R, make sprite. We use the tag. Now we're going to do color yellow. Now we're going to do a rectangle. Control Alt G will make a grid. We're going to do an 8x8 grid. We're going to show the grid and we're going to snap to the grid. So make a rectangle. Now we're going to Control Alt Shift G. Control Alt Shift G works everywhere. So that's built into the system. So now we're going to do color black line. Control Alt G. Let's do 4 4 4. We're just going to snap. We're not going to show the grid. Control Alt Z zooms in on the mouse cursor. Okay, Control Alt Shift Z, zoom out. We want to do Control Alt Shift G to get rid of the snap. Now we're going to flood fill. Oh, look at that, we got a couple extra lines. Control Alt or right click. We're going to do Sprite Edit menu. Pick or delete objects graphically. Hold down delete and click. So I hold down delete and then I click. And I click. Now sprite main menu, flood fill. I'm going to intentionally screw up. Oh no, what happened? Look, I put the flood fill. These are vectors and order matters. So I'm going to cut to the clipboard this flood fill and paste it after the lines at the bottom. Always reposition the cursor on the end and you'll be okay. Now we do another flood fill. And another flood fill. Okay, now when you get all done, convert to a bitmap. Transparent. So now there's just a bitmap where we had vectors. It's easier to edit when they're vector, but when you finish, then you convert to a bitmap. Now I'm going to set the origin of the sprite. Exit. Now I'm going to do a sprite. Control R for graphics resources. Pointer to sprite. We want bin number 1. Okay, let's main to run the program. Escape, pound, include, intro.cpp.z, semicolon. Okay, that's all messed up. So let's do a directory. Intro. We want to cursor down. Oops. What did I do? Okay. What do we got? F5. Okay. Now we want to shift it over. See, we want to shift it over, so we want to put some spaces here. I'm doing shift space. Shift space. If you zoom in, I'm going to Control Alt Z. You see the dots? That's a shift space. That's so that I run spaces to tabs, and my source code is okay. Okay, now we're going to work with the persistent layer. The persistent layer is kind of the kids layer. All of the functions have the most frequent, most common parameters as defaults. So alias, most common parameter is going to be the persistent layer. Now it looks like Pascal, but if you use defaults, you can just enter. Okay, now we're going to do. I used to, when I was a kid, I would go to stores and type this program in on computers before we had a computer. This is the first program I ever wrote. Maybe not quite. Anyway, we want to, I almost forgot, DC delete. We have to delete the alias. The alias is so that we can set our own color. Color equals red. How about, okay. Otherwise, okay, here we go. Oh, we have to, might as well DC fill. Get char. We're going to get a character and then delete it. Okay. Isn't that cool? That's the first thing I learned how to do on a computer. Let's go ahead and make it full screen. So, Win-Max. All these have the most common. Let's get rid of the border. Let's get rid of the text. Not clear. Let's get rid of the cursor. Let's go ahead and save our settings. This is these save the task settings. You'll want to do this once you start. So we're going to get rid of the cursor. And let's get rid of WordStat. Nope, WordStat's back. Okay, so now, okay, now let's go to the adult. The persistent layer is kind of the kid. The adult way is to redraw it. So I'm going to use a feature of the editor where it can do disjoint cut paste. So Control X, Control V. Now it should, watch, we get blank. Now we say DC draw. This is a callback. The window manager task runs this callback 30 times a second. We're going to point it to the DrawIt. Use an ampersand for the address of a pointer. God's laughing. Why is God laughing? Oh. Okay. Yeah, okay, we have God. I forgot. God's here. F7. Okay, anyway. So God can help you find bugs. Anyway, he just laughs at you. Anyway, now we want to sprite Z3B. This will display a sprite rotated about its Z coordinate. Control R. Pointer to sprite number 1, comma T sub S. This is the angle that we rotate about the Z. Okay, isn't that cool? Okay, so let's go ahead and DC. Now you don't delete the device context that gets passed into you. Anyway, flags or equal. We're gonna do the transformation. Okay, then we say gr rot x equal, and tell it the rotation matrix of the device context, and then we're going to rotate with time as an angle. Okay, so it's rotating, a big rotation. Okay, now let's go ahead and make the line rotate the lines. We convert to the 3D version of this. The 3D version responds to rotations. So now that's rotating about the x-axis. Let's go ahead and you can combine rotations one after the other. Now we'll rotate about the x and the y. So now we're rotating about the x and the y. Now it's not 3D, is it? It's 2D. So if we want to, let's do Control R to edit this, and let's delete this bitmap, and let's click on End, then do Edit Mesh, 3D Mesh, and then do Snap 5. These are 25. Okay, Place Vertex. Let's. Oh, I have a bad aim. Oh, awful aim. Okay, we'll move. Okay, now we do move vertex, vertice. Okay, now let's move those up. Okay, now we do setting color. So two-sided means front and back, different colors. Anyway, we got the color. Now we do make triangle. If you do, there's a front and a back, so do it either always clockwise or always counterclockwise. Otherwise, it'll be two different colors. So now we have to, this is where it gets tricky. Let's go to select all. Now look at this, it's not selected the vertexes. So you have to do, I did it wrong. Do place, set it on place vertex, then do select all. Now it gets the vertices as well. And now we do copy, paste. So there's two combined together. We're going to rotate, we're going to set the angles. Then let's go to move Z vertex. So I have the image, now I moved it. Okay, now let's do some, I'm going to zoom in. Now let's do setting color red. And let's do some triangles, make triangle. Oh, that's bad. Okay, so select rectangle. I get confused. If you can get just one in the rectangle, it will delete the triangle. So then we delete that. Now let's do triangle again. So I'm confused. This hurts my head. I can't see it as it is. Okay. Okay, now we do. You have to be a glutton for punishment to do these. So that was the wrong answer. Maybe this one? Hell if I know. And I'm not doing all these. We might lose. Let's try a different angle. Let's go ahead and rotate. Okay, I think I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I don't know. That sucks. I think it's, it's got a Z coordinate setting. That's what the problem is. Oh, we have to pay attention to, okay, the cursor, see this cursor mouse tail? Okay, so that's, I don't think so. Anyway, let's try one more time. Let's, if you hold the right, if you hold the mouse button, the right mouse button, okay, now we got, you have to be a glutton for punishment to do this 3D stuff. Oh, I didn't make triangles there. That's what the problem is. I skimped on vertices. I skimped on vertices. You remember when I started, I didn't put intermediate vertices. I skimped. Okay, I was getting off. I don't like making 3D anyway. Anyway, so escape, exit. Then let's run it and see what it looks like. One more thing. We have to do two more things, actually. We have to do we have to do DC alloc depth buffer. This is for the depth buffer. This, and then one more thing is we have to set, I'm going to set a transform, a shift by GR. Watch what happens if we, do you see how it's cutting out? That's because it's clipping with the plane of the screen. If it's a negative Z or positive Z, so it's clipping with the plane plane of the screen. So now we say DC. There's a handy offset. This just adds half of max int. If you see what GRZ all is max int divided by 2. So this makes so that it never gets clipped by the screen. Okay, good enough. Sorry about that.